Reaching the top of the head tall, resting over towards the other side. Stretching tall, sliding our shoulders up and down a few times. With our shoulders resting, let's open the palms and inhale fingers towards the ceiling. Exhaling, thumbs down to the heart. Inhaling as we lengthen. Exhaling, lower. Finding one more breath, reaching tall and resting down. As we relax our hands at our knees or the floor, feel the shoulders rest. Take a deep breath and inhale the ribs up towards the sky. Now we hang out here as we exhale. Maybe feel your hips drawing towards the ground. We can rest our hands for support. We can keep inhaling the heart forward and exhaling the hips down. Taking just a moment to breathe. Wherever you're feeling a good stretch today, you may have felt good in that tall spine, maybe resting a little bit forward, or maybe your nose touches the ground. Wherever you're feeling along the way, feel just a few deep breaths. So welcome to keep our arms resting forward. Welcome to start walking the arms and the ribs over towards one thigh and feel the side body stretch open. And then maybe walk over towards the other side. As we find neutral, feel the ribs rest just for a moment. Then our inhale picks up the rib cage. Find length in our spine. We can keep the legs just as they are. You're going to have the option to trade out the legs. So with our inhale, picking up the ribs, option to stay tall. May we exhale softly forward. Continuing to let the breath guide the body towards the ground. Just a moment to release. Finding relaxation for a few deep breaths. Now, as our spine grows tall, feel the top of the head lengthen out from the tailbone. You're going to send one hand towards the opposite thigh and stretch the other arm up towards the sky and breathe. And then as we're ready, trading sides, the other hand over, the other arm out. Coming back to neutral, let's inhale, fingertips to the sky. As we exhale, twisting over. Lifting on the inhale, twisting through the exhale. Take a moment to breathe. Coming back to neutral, reaching tall, reaching towards the other side. Lifting and twisting the spine. As we find ourselves back to neutral, inhaling tall, exhaling thumbs down to the heart. Finding all fours, helping our wrist under the shoulders, the knees, under the hips. Feel that length through our spine. Beginning to inhale, guide our heart open to cow pose. Exhaling ribs tall to cat. Feeling just a flowing movement through our spine as we breathe. Stretching and relaxing into our breath. We're welcome to keep the movement flowing through the cat and cow. As we find neutral spine, we can start folding a bit side to side, shoulders towards the hips on one side, shoulders towards the hips on the other side, creating just a little release through our spine as we breathe. As we find ourselves in neutral, let's pull the ribs in and send the right knee out to the side. So we're going to think about the heel pressing out, and then you can keep the leg in stillness, or you can have a little up and down movement. Outer hip lifting, inner thigh lowering. And we'll end up resting the foot or the big toe and push the heart forward on the inhale like a little cow pose. Exhale, ribs up. Inhaling back to that little cow pose, and then exhale up to the cat. Now from here, as we find a neutral spine, palms can stay under the shoulders, elbows can rest under the shoulders, or the arms can reach out, sending the collarbone down to the ground, and push the tailbone up to the sky and breathe. As we slide our palms back underneath our shoulders, taking the side leg behind us, toe to the ground, lift the ribs and send the opposite arm forward, lengthening through fingers, through heel, and breathe. As we relax that side down, let's send that other leg out to the side. You can keep the knee bent or stretch the leg out towards straight. Feel your outer hip, inner thigh reaching up and down a few times. Feeling any range of motion, any pace of movement. Then we'll end up resting either the big toe or the sole of the foot. Feeling the spine grow tall and push the heart forward in this little cow posture. Exhaling, lifting the ribs up. Feeling a little bit of a cat posture. And flow that just a couple more times. Drawing the heart forward. Picking the rib up. Noticing that outer hip as you breathe. And we'll end up in a neutral spine with the top of the head lengthening out from the tailbone. Palms under the shoulders. Or elbows under the shoulders. Or arms out. Collarbone. Down to the ground and breathe. Feeling relaxation into our breath. We'll slide the palms back underneath, taking the side leg behind us, toe towards the ground, inner thighs engage. Maybe that opposite arm of the back leg reaches forward, finding length through the fingertips, through the back heel, and breathe. Let's relax. Finding our way back into child's pose, resting into our shoulders, resting into our ribs, feeling the lower back. Taking a moment to breathe. We'll send our feet up towards our hands and create rest in our forward fold. Resting the shoulders, relaxing the head, relaxing the neck. Knees can be bent or straight, whichever feels better. Let's let our head and neck find a little bit of up and down movement. A little bit of side to side movement. A little bit of up and down again. With our inhale, finding halfway lift. Stretching through the back of the head, the back of the hips. Feel that stretch in our spine. Option to lengthen the legs or keep that soft bend in the knee. As we all ground the heels and bend the knee, let's inhale, fingertips up to the sky, stretching tall. Keep one arm tall, the other arm to the ground, and let the fingers pull in opposite directions. And then we'll trade, the other arm up to the sky, the other arm down towards the ground. And we'll trade again, this time staying vertical or pulling off to the side, reaching across the body. Let's come back tall, trade the arms, staying vertical, or adding that reach across the body. Letting both arms find the sky, lifting the lungs on the inhale. Feel your lower belly kick in as your hips hinge. Send your arms out to the side. Feel that length in the spine. Deep bend in the knees as our fingertips find the ground and the right knee slides back behind us. Left heel rests under the knee. Arms on either side of the front leg or inside, wherever you're feeling comfortable. Let's inhale and pull our hips and heart forward. As we exhale, resting our hips and thighs back. So we'll just add a little bit of movement with our breath, flowing forward through our inhale, releasing back through our exhale, resting through each breath. And as we sink our hips back, the spine can stay tall, the heart can relax deeper down and towards the thighs, feeling a moment of rest and release as we breathe. Letting that inhale send our hips and heart forward, and with our exhale, relaxing back, finding our way back to child's pose to relax. Maybe we find a kneeling plank, creating a tall spine, upper arms squeeze in as our elbows bend. Our inhale can send the heart forward, and our exhales relax the back, hips back, and breathe. As we guide our right foot into our lunge, let's slide the heel under the knee, letting our body find stability as we inhale, our hips and heart forward, exhaling, hips and thighs back. So feeling just a little flowy movement through the hips, through the thighs, and breathe, relaxing into our exhales. Maybe we hang out for a moment with that front leg towards straight. Have an option to sink the hips and the ribs just a little bit deeper, relax into our breath. Letting that next inhale send our hips and heart forward, our back toes finding the front, releasing in our forward fold. Let our shoulders rest with gravity, our head and neck might find a little bit of up and down movement, maybe just a little bit of side to side movement, maybe a little up and down again. Feel that release through our spine and relax into our breath. With our inhale, stretch up halfway. Pushing through the heels, let's inhale and reach up all the way, fingertips to the sky. We're going to pull the heart open, feel the lungs lift. And then exhale, palms into the heart. So with our right foot forward, our left foot comes back to a warrior one. We're going to think about your inner thighs engaged, lower belly engaged. And then maybe our fingertips stretch up to the sky. Option to keep the palms together. Option to take the right arm to the left forearm. Picking up the ribs on the inhale and then reaching it over. Feel that stretch as we breathe. We're going to come tall. Pick up the ribs on the inhale. Lengthening out the front leg and exhaling halfway forward. Feel that length in our spine and breathe. We're going to ground into that front foot. Inhaling all the way, feet back to mountain, lifting the heart to the sky. And exhale, thumbs back to the heart. Keeping the left foot forward, the right foot comes back to that warrior one. Grounding into the palm, shoulders resting. Maybe drawing the fingertips up towards the sky. Option to take the left hand to the right forearm and pull that arm over the head and feel that side body stretching as we breathe. As we lengthen out our spine, front leg stretches towards straight, arms reach to the side. Picking up the ribs on the inhale, hinging towards halfway. Stretch and release into the breath. Rounding into the front foot, lifting our feet back forward, opening our heart, extending that mountain. And exhale, swan diving down, relaxing our shoulders. Maybe our head and neck relax here just for a moment. Maybe finding just a little bit of up and down movement, a little bit of side to side movement, a little bit of up and down again, and breathe. Sending our feet back to child's pose or downward dog, wherever you're feeling a good stretch. Feeling just a moment to release the legs. If you want to flow here, you can, or just find stability in the stretch. Wherever we're at, having the option to send the right foot up towards the sky to a three-legged dog, helping this right foot reach wide outside the mat. And the back knee can go ahead and relax. You're going to feel the thigh, knee, hip, toes all reaching in that little line of movement. So that as we inhale the hips and heart forward, you feel your tailbone, your heart reaching to the front of the mat. And then as we exhale the tailbone back, we're lengthening out the front leg towards straight. So maybe we're moving with our breath. Inhaling, drawing towards the lunge, and then releasing back towards the half pyramid. So feeling just a little bit of reach, a little bit of release. Take a moment to breathe, resting into the breath. Feeling each breath, helping our hips maybe find a little bit more range of motion. Feel a little bit more relaxation through the inner thigh, through the outer hip. A little more folding in that hinge through the hip and the thigh as we breathe. The next time our hip reaches back, taking a moment to maybe keep the spine tall or allow the ribs to relax maybe even further inside the front thigh and breathe. Just a moment of relaxation through the hips, breathing into any intensity, releasing that intensity through the exhale, resting through our breath. Letting the inhale, draw our hips and heart back forward. Option to move this front thigh so the outer hip can feel open, the inner thigh can fold in. So feeling maybe any range of motion, any pace of movement that our body agrees with. Maybe out feels better to just stay, maybe in feels better to just stay, or continuing the flow, whichever your body feels the best about at the moment. Now with our thigh out or in, you can choose which feels the most stable. Lower belly kicks in with the palms under the shoulders or the elbows under the shoulders, pushing through the forearms as our heart draws towards the thumbs. Taking a moment to relax into our breath, feeling those resting exhales. We're going to ground into our palms. Feel the spine grow tall. You're going to slide this front foot in just a little bit so you can roll onto your left straight leg and either rest on your hand or the forearm. So your palm can be under the shoulder or the elbow can be under the shoulder. Now you're going to have some options. You're going to keep this top knee bent, but you might want to slide it closer to your body for a little bit more support. The bottom leg can stay straight, or you can bend the knee because you can choose your body's range of motion. So from here, this top hand can rest on the hip or the ground or the sky. Think about the bottom forearm pushing in and your collarbone, your ribs pulling up. So maybe we hang out here. We're welcome to push into that bent knee and help the hips lift, feeling the lift in the lungs. Now you can stay lifted, or you can lower and lift the hips a few times. Feeling a little stretch and release. You may have to move your body for comfort. Feeling that openness and release into our breath. And we're going to end up with palms on the ground, both legs straight, or both knees bent, your choice. Hand on the hip, the floor, or the sky, and then you can inhale, lift the hips up again and breathe. We'll end up resting the hips. Come onto our belly, plant the forearms and find Sphinx Pose. Shoulders back, forearms pressing down, heart opens to the front of the room and breathe. Now we can stay in Sphinx Pose. You can pull on the lower belly and lift the hips. You can tuck into the toes and lift the knees. Take a moment to breathe. Let's find ourselves back. Child's pose or downward dog, you can choose. Feeling a moment of relaxation, a moment of rest and release. You can choose any movements in your body, or maybe just sliding the arms to one side and feel the ribs stretching and opening. And then maybe drawing over towards the other side. So we're feeling just a moment of relaxation as we send our ribs and arms back to neutral. Relax into our shoulders, our head, and neck and relief. From our child's pose or downward dog, if you want that three-legged dog, you can send the right foot up to the sky, helping that right foot find its way forward into this wide lunge with our palms under the shoulders, picking up the ribs and pushing them forward as we inhale. Exhaling, hips and thighs stretch back, lengthening that front leg towards straight with our exhale. Staying in either option or finding that flowing movement. Inhaling through our lunge, exhaling through our half pyramid. We're feeling that stretch, that release, as we find just a moment to breathe. And then again, our body can continue the flowing movement. If it feels okay to stay with our hips back, we can continue with a tall spine, back of the head out from the tailbone. We can slowly exhale the heart deeper towards the inside of that thigh, releasing through any extra sensations as we relax through our breath. Each exhale bringing peace and release as we rest through the breath. Letting our inhale pull our hips and heart forward. Option to maybe move this front thigh. So the outer hip might open, inner thigh might fold. Feeling that engagement through your hips and thighs. As the hip opens, the knee and the toe kind of just follow along with what the hip is doing. So really squeezing through those thighs and hips to make it a muscle movement instead of just our bones collapsing through the stretch. And with our thigh out or in, your choice, pulling through the ribs, ribs, maybe just drawing our heart forward, maybe resting our elbows underneath the shoulders, feeling that reach through our heart, the grounding through the palms or forearms as we find stability through the spine, the hip, and breathe, creating relaxation through each breath. Rounding into our palms, feel that length through our spine as we breathe. I think I told, did we do the same leg twice or did I just do the same leg twice? Oh my gosh, dang it. All right, trade legs. I hope that, I was like, why am I on this side? I'm like, well, I'm gonna be backwards. I just tell you, some days my brain works, some days doesn't. So much for inspiration today. Okay, so I'm going to be walking crooked the rest of the day. So if you guys need to do anything you need to do. We're going to... I'm so glad that y'all are smarter than me with this stuff, I tell you. All right, so let's slide this foot in a bit so you can roll onto your right hip. Let your left elbow or left palm be under your shoulder. You can choose which feels better.
No, my hip was telling me to do it. It's like, nope, you done this.
Apparently this side just didn't want to do that. This side did. So we're just going to let it say my body chose today. Some days it works, some days it doesn't work. All right, so this top hand, hip, ground, or sky. Bottom leg can be bent or straight. We'll add intensity with straightness or less intense with bent, so you can choose. Picking through the ribs, pushing through the form. You can stay lifted and long. You can add a little bit of movement, hip towards the ground, hip towards the sky, and feel just a little stretch through the breath. And then as our hip rests to the ground, have the option to let both legs be straight. And again, same option with the arms, maybe pulling up the ribs, or both knees can be bent. You can choose. Take a moment to breathe. Now we're going to relax into our hips, guide our body over onto our forearms to find our Sphinx Pose, pushing through the forearms, pushing through the heart, shoulders relaxing, taking a moment to breathe. So again, we have the option to hang out here as your lower belly kicks in. Maybe our hips come up off the ground. If you're feeling pretty strong today, maybe the toes tuck. And we find length through the back of the head, the back of the heels, and breathe. And we'll have a deep bend in the knees to find child's pose or stretch back into downward dog or dolphin. You can choose, and relax through the shoulders, the ribs, through the lower back, and rest into the breath. Taking just a few resting exhales here as we relax. Find a few resting breaths. Maybe adding flow or just sending the arms over to one side, allowing that rib cage to stretch wide. Maybe walking over towards the other side, feeling that stretch into our breath. We find our way back to the center. If it feels okay, let's find a downward dog and reach our feet wide to the back of the mat. And then start to walk our hands towards our feet and take a moment to breathe. Soften the knees or straight legs, relaxing into our shoulders, the head, the neck, just a few deep breaths. Maybe our head and neck find just a little bit of up and down movement, maybe just a little bit of side to side movement, maybe a little up and down again. Having the option to continue the forward fold. As the toes widen out, you can even reach sideways if that feels better. Find the yoga squat of your choice. Heels might come in closer, heels might come out wider. Let your elbows find the inner thighs, your ribs grow tall. Any variation of the yoga squat you're feeling like today, and breathe. So if you're hips are in line with your knees. It might feel better just kind of dip one shoulder towards the middle of the legs, dip the other shoulder. If your hips are closer to your heels, it might feel better to send one arm down, one arm up to add that little twisty movement, or the other arm down, the other arm up. So let your body choose stillness or movement. Find a few deep breaths. Now as we feel a little evenness, planting our heels, let's inhale, find our way up to the sky. Option to slide our heels a little bit closer to shoulder width and maybe add a little sway. Shoulders, ribs, lower back releasing. And we'll end up finding our place of grounding to work on some balance. So planting through one foot, tree foot with the other side. Reaching in, lifting up, grounding into our palms, finding our focal point. So as our grounding leg takes on the weight, the floating toe may lift off the ground or rest inside the inner calf or thigh, avoiding our joints. Keeping palms grounded at the heart, or relaxing the palms, or stretching fingertips towards the sky. Anywhere we're feeling pretty stable today, and create relaxation into our breath. As we're ready for rest, let's relax the joints. Let's trade legs, the other foot feeling the ground. The other foot finds the tree leg of your choice. Reaching in and up as we ground the palms, creating that focal point, creating any movement in that bent knee foot that feels stable without pushing in our joints. Palms grounded, or resting, or reaching. Finding just a moment to breathe and relax into our breath. Finding rest with our palms at the heart, feet releasing, joints relaxed. And we'll find eagle pose. So we're going to send the other foot to the ground, the other thigh over. Feel the thighs squeeze in. And then the arm of this top leg comes under. As our arms make an X, our fingertips can reach to the shoulders, or the back of the hands can join, or the palms can join, shoulders resting. So I'm going to give you a few options for this eagle pose. You can do the traditional one, which I'll show you in a minute. If you keep your foot on the ground and you want to have a little bit of movement in life, you can inhale the elbows up and then exhale the elbows in. It's still a balance because you're moving with that grounding leg really taking on most of the weight. So you can stay with this movement. If you like the traditional eagle, you can float the toe and sink the tailbone back in stillness. Not really still with the wind moving. Or you can even fold here, but it's going to be significantly more difficult. So choose what you're feeling good about it and breathe. Just a couple more breaths. And then unravel, shake it out, relax out our joints. As we're ready to trade sides, the other foot takes on the weight, the other thigh crosses over. And then the arm of this top leg comes under. As we make the X, fingers back, or back of the hands or palms, shoulders resting. So if you liked that movement option, maybe inhaling, elbows up, exhaling in, you still have to squeeze the thighs, the core to keep our body stable. If you like that traditional eagle, you can send the tailbone back, maybe float the bottom toe, stillness or adding that movement, lifting and releasing and breathe. And as we're ready to relax, shake it out. Give our body just a little bit more movement. Then from the front of our mats, opening our lungs on the inhale, swan diving through the exhale, relax our shoulders just a bit and rest our head and neck. So maybe our head and neck find just a little bit of movement up and down. Feeling just a little bit of movement side to side, maybe a little up and down again. So keeping the right heel grounded, we're going to slide the left knee back behind us. Arms can be on either side of the front leg or on the inside. If you want more space, you can wiggle the front foot to the side. But you're going to think about the inner thighs staying stable to stabilize the hips. And then inhale, hips and heart forward with the option to bend the back knee. And then relax back to neutral. So we're inhaling, drawing forward, exhaling neutral. Just a few reaching breaths, relaxing through our exhales. Now from here, you can have the option to stay back toe up or down. Just a moment to stretch the hips and the heart towards the front of the mat. If we've got our back toe lifted, let's rest it down for a moment. As we are ready, heel toeing the front foot over to the side to where your shin can relax without putting pressure or unnecessary pressure on the knee and the hip. That back leg can lengthen out to find this pigeon. If you're not feeling like a pigeon today, you can always rest on the front thigh, let the back knee bend, and hang out in the Z sit. That's always a good option for the hips. So wherever we're at, you can stay tall and lifted, or as we exhale, we can fold towards the front thigh. Even in the Z sit, you can fold if you're feeling like it. And relax. Just a few resting exhales. Let your body release through a few deep breaths. And from this pigeon position, you're going to have the option again, if it feels okay, to bend the back knee. Again, keep your chest down. You can walk your hands towards the body and lift the chest up, back knee, or down, whichever your hip flexor allows today, and keep opening through the lungs. You can hang out. This front hand can ground, and the back hand can just stabilize the hip. You can add a little twisting, turning the ribs towards the back leg, that back knee bent or straight, you can choose. If it's bent, the back arm might feel like reaching towards it, or you might feel like pulling it in, depending on how much stretch you're feeling like today, and breathe. Your knee may not appreciate this, so this is always optional. As our bodies release, let's press into our palms, pull our bodies into this all fours position, add a few spinal movements, maybe a few cat and cows, or you can do a few side to sides, or any variation of them. If you want to make a big circle through the spine, you can. Now with our spine tall, let's send that left foot forward into our lunge. Make sure it's the other leg, because you just don't know. Unless you just really want to do the same leg twice.
The other leg.
So, there you go. I don't know. Some days it works, some days it works. So let's, hands on either side or the inside of the leg. Let's start to inhale. Hips and heart drawing forward. Maybe you stay, maybe come back to neutral. You can feel a little stretch, a little release option to bend the back knee as your hips reach forward. Usually as your hips reach forward, you find a little bit more space to roll more on your femur bone than on your patella. So it's a little less pressure when you're actually on the thigh instead of the top of the knee. Now from here, knee up or down, you can take a moment to stretch the heart as far forward as it wants to go. And we'll go ahead and relax the knee and wiggle the front toe across the body, letting the shin release so it doesn't have to be parallel. Sometimes our knees are just not happy with that option. So again, you can lengthen out this back leg. If your hip isn't feeling that today, you just bend in the back knee and hang out this little Z sit. So wherever your body feels good about it, we can inhale and keep the heart flowing open. We can exhale onto our hands or ribs from either option and send the ribs towards that front thigh. Get a little release through the body, letting each exhale rest out. Find a few resting breaths. Just a moment to breathe and release. Finding rest with each exhale. Option to bend the back knee here. Sometimes in this folded posture it's a little less intense. You can still get the hip flexor stretch. You can keep the knee bent or let it release back to straight as we walk our palms towards the chest and feel that little openness through the front side of the body as we breathe. So again, option to be forward with the back knee up or down. Front palm can take on the weight. The back hand can stabilize this hip. Lifting the ribs, maybe twisting from the ribs to gaze towards the back leg. If we're feeling like it, maybe the hand finds the back foot, and maybe the heel comes a little closer to the hips. That hip flexor is really intensely stretching here. So wherever that body allows today, let the body breathe through any extra sensations. And as we're ready, we're going to relax out. Feeling the grounding in the palms. Let's find ourselves back to all fours. Add a little spinal movement, so maybe shoulders and hips reach together. Maybe feel a few cat and cows, or again, you can circle through the rib cage. Feel it reaching towards the ground and up towards the sky, and trading directions if you feel like it. Now letting our knees reach wide, the toes reach together, sinking back into this wide child's pose, resting our ribs inside the legs, the shoulders, the head, the neck, feeling rest with gravity, taking a moment to breathe, finding peace through each exhale, relaxing into our breath. So ground into our fingertips, maybe walking the arms over towards one side, and take the ribs to the thigh if that feels like a good stretch. We find our way back to center. We can draw over towards the other side. We come to the center, lifting up the chest, sliding the knees together, sinking back on our hips to the heels with the feet flat. Or if you want to try that stretch in the toes, you can tuck in your toes to sit on the heels, with the toes tucked under, the heels resting. So wherever your body feels like your knees don't like that bend at all, you do easy seated pose. So we're going to have options with our arms. So maybe we send our fingers back behind us and lift the lungs. If it feels okay, you can even rest the hands at the lower back. Or you might even interlace the fingers. You might need that lift in the toes to find enough space to draw knuckles towards the ground and let the collarbone open. You can always come up onto your knees if your feet don't like this position, and breathe. Then we're going to send the top of the head towards the ground. Hands can stay at the hips, or maybe squeeze the shoulder blades together and float the knuckles up to the sky. Wherever our hands are, maybe our palms rest towards the ground in front of us, to the side or behind us. We can untuck the toes if you want and pound them in towards the ground to release out any extra sensations. Then we'll end up on our hips into our butterfly. So sliding the soles of the feet together, relaxing through the thighs, maybe rocking our hips just a bit side to side. Get a little release here. Maybe floating those thighs up and down a few times, flying the butterfly wings. And then we can stay tall and lifted. We can add a little circling movement, ribs towards one thigh, ribs towards the middle, ribs towards the other thigh. And you can create any range of motion, any pace of movement, whatever our body's feeling good about today. Let's relax here for a few deep breaths. If we're enjoying the circling direction, we can stay. Maybe we feel like trading that direction of movement, stretching into the ribs, the hips, lower back, keep breathing. Anytime our bodies might find a little evenness today, let's inhale, hips and heart to the sky. Maybe we stay tall and lifted. Maybe we stretch towards a diagonal line, grounding through the tailbone, drawing through the top of the head. Maybe we keep reaching the heart towards the toes. You can maneuver your body into a position that feels the best on your hips, on your knees, on your thighs. Finding that peace and relaxation through each exhale, allowing the body to relax into our breath. As our spine grows tall, we're joining the knees towards each other, feet flying up to the front of the mat. Inner thighs coming in, lower belly coming in, we're holding on, maybe we're reaching out, finding release in our spine. We're going to take the right thigh into the chest, lengthening out the left leg, and notice the thighs actively stretching away from each other. We're breathing here, just for a moment, feeling that stretch into the breath. Let's press our heel up to the sky, feeling that length through our legs, the length through our spine, taking a moment to breathe. And we're going to send this top right knee all the way towards the shoulder. Feel your hip stretching out just a bit. Hand can stay on the thigh. If you want to reach up towards a half happy baby, we can, depending on how our hip flexors are feeling. We're going to take just a moment to feel that relaxation of the thigh and the hip towards the ground. So enjoying this stretch here, or anytime your body would like a little twist today, you can send the right arm to the ground, left arm can reach over, and we can slide the knee across the body. Finding relaxation as our hips and shoulders feel release away from each other, finding rest and peace into our breath. We find ourselves reaching back into neutral, relaxing into our spine, sending that left thigh towards the chest, extending through that right heel to the foot of the mat, pushing the left heel up to the sky. Feel the length through the legs, maybe stretching through the thighs. In the opposite directions just a bit, breathe. Have an option to keep the leg straight, or maybe pulling that knee down towards the shoulder, staying holding on at the thigh, or reaching up for the foot for this little half happy baby option, relaxing through our hips and thighs. Just for a moment, breathe, feeling peace through our exhales. And then maybe we send the right arm over and pull that knee across our body, shoulders and hips. Relax just for a moment, feeling rest through the breath. Just a few releasing exhales, finding peace through each breath. Uh-oh.
The little thing broke.
It's okay. Everything is just stuff, right? When we're ready for neutral, thanks for helping. We'll hug our thighs to the chest, relax the spine, and rock just a bit side to side. Feeling relaxation through our tailbone, relaxation through the lower back, relaxation through our ribs, the shoulders. Option to slide the hands on top of the knees, maybe add a little bit of movement, thighs away from the body, thighs towards the body. Maybe circling through our knees on the ceiling, adding just a little bit of release here. And the option to trade direction of that circle and relax into our breath. We're feeling just a moment of peace in the legs. So maybe hugging the thighs to the chest just for a moment, feeling rest, relaxation through the hips, the ribs, the thighs. We can hang out here for a couple of breaths or welcome any other movements our body feels good about adding in something extra today. Anytime we're ready for stillness, option to send the feet wide, maybe rest our knees together to relax the tailbone and lower back into the ground. We can send the soles of the feet together, relaxing the thighs open, shoulders resting in peace. Maybe our legs feel like length today with our heels reaching out towards the foot of the mat. Maybe the feet are open, maybe the palms are open, noticing the shoulders. Feeling just a moment of relaxation on our spine. If laying on the spine isn't finding peace and comfort today, you can choose any other option that your body might want for relaxation. You can maneuver your body to another place for peace and rest. We're going to begin focusing on that long, deep breath, traveling the air through the nose all the way down into the belly. Releasing the breath back out of the belly, back out of our nose. Now we can stay just focusing on the breath, reaching into our belly. We can allow the breath to travel into any of the other spaces in our body that may have found any extra sensations today that we might be feeling. And allow our breath to bring more peace and comfort and relaxation through the body with each inhale, finding relaxation through the exhale. We sometimes keep stress and tension in our hip flexors and our hip region. And when we allow that stress to stick in our body, sometimes our mind gets stuck as well. So we're less likely to be open to different options, to different opinions, to people that may not agree with us or we may not agree with them, to have stability in life. So just take just a moment to feel and relax into that openness that we've created by trying to release out any stickiness through the hips, relaxing through each breath. If it's helpful, you can even add in just a will say to help the mind and body relax. Maybe I'm rested, I'm at peace. Anything that we're needing to find and breathe in a little extra today. Maybe we're beginning to feel the breath traveling through our body, resting in our fingers and our toes, maybe welcoming in any movements to relax out any extra sensations or joint stiffness. We can breathe in relaxation and peace through our hands, our feet, resting through our wrists, through our ankles. Breathing through our lower legs, lower arms, relaxing through the knees, the elbows, breathing through our thighs, our hips, the lower back, the ribs, the shoulders, the head, the neck. Welcome to continue as we are in stillness. We can add in any movements of comfort and release that our body is welcoming in today. If it feels comfortable, we can relax over onto our side for just a few breaths. As we rest our head and our hands or upper arm, we notice just a moment of stillness and peace. Breathing in those peaceful, calming, relaxing breaths with each inhale. Pressing out anything our body just doesn't need today through each exhale down into the ground. Feeling just a moment of rest and relaxation. As we're ready for a seated position, let's help our bodies up to relax on our tailbone, choosing any position for the legs of comfort. As our spine grows tall, our shoulders rest. Taking a moment to open the palms with our inhale, drawing fingertips towards the sky. As we exhale, draw the thumbs down towards the earth. Inhaling as we lengthen and reach. Exhaling as we rest and relax. Finding just one more breath, inhaling tall. Exhaling down. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me. Have just an awesome Friday, whatever day it is for online people watching it now. Today it's Friday for us, so you can pretend like it's Friday if it's not for you whenever you watch this. Hello, online people. Maybe.